What's going on, YouTube? I am back here with the with Double G, the Gauntlet Gray Street Glide Special 2021. I have to say I am loving this bike. I was gonna do a 500-mile review, but you know, no real need for that. I blew right by 500 miles, and now I'm at 1,000, and I just did my 1,000-mile service at branded Harley Davidson. I'm not sure if I'll take it back to Harley again for the next services because I can pretty much do some of the service stuff myself. Plus, I have friends that work for Harley or used to work for Harley or whatever, and they can do the service adjustments as well. I had bought the what do you call these guards here? Heat shields. There you go, heat shields. I tell you, this rear cylinder, my gosh, it gets really hot, and you could just feel the heat just coming through, just right on your leg. So I purchased these heat shields, and I was going to install them. But when I took the bike for the 1,000-mile service, I said, well, you guys might as well throw it on. You know, they charge like $60 to throw them on, which is probably too much. But I figured they already had the seat off anyway, so why not do it? And then the other thing was they grease and oil everything on the bike. You know, if everything is tight and all of that stuff. So when they oil this, for whatever reason, as soon as I got the bike back, and I have a video of it, this was down. This peg has never been down. So I go back and I'm like, wow, what's going on with this? I said, this is like real loose all of a sudden. So, you know, I pointed out to the service advisor, and the service advisor goes, oh, well, we have a clip and blah, 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 but if it's still a problem, you know, bring it back. So I do bring it back the next day, call them up and I say, hey, you know, when I'm riding, this thing keeps falling down, you know, hitting me in the back of the leg. You know, so it needs to be fixed because when I brought it in, it wasn't doing it, but now it's doing it. All right, so they go and they say they're gonna change the clip. They change the clip, it's still real loose. Then they say, oh, well, we'll do a screw and whatever. I'm like, oh, all right, well, fine, go ahead, do the screw. And I was at an event that they were having there as well. So when I come back, the guy's trying to charge me $100 for a screw. Like, are you serious? $100? Like, wait a minute, when I brought it in, this wasn't falling down. And now you give it back to me and it's falling down, and you're trying to charge me $100 to fix this? Like, seriously, a screw, $100. A screw. That's some straight bullshit. Harley is full of shit. But anyway, the review of the bike. I have to say, I do love the bike. When I had my 04, I was hesitant about buying a new bike. And people kept telling me, oh, you should get a new bike, you should get a new bike. And I'm like, why? When I'm good with the one that I got. But when I rode the Street Glide and the Road Glide in the same day, I was like, wow, these bikes are really balanced. You know, the bikes are heavy to begin with, but when you ride them, they just feel really, really balanced. Like, no issue, no problem, just really a balance and steady and a decent suspension. So I really don't have any complaints. The only, you know, some of the, you know, the complaints I do have, which are kind of minor ones, is I just think for the money that you're spending on these bikes, all the lights should be LED. I like that they give you the chopped engine guard, but it almost seems like they should give you a choice whether you want chopped or the big ones. And if you want the big ones, they should just swap them out. And maybe that's what I should have done when I was working with the sales guy, is just work that in, because as soon as I got it, that's one of the first things I changed was the engine guard. The same thing with the saddlebag guard. It's like, come on, why not? I mean, you have them on the Road King. Why would you not put it on the Street Glides? And I guess the Road King Special, I think, doesn't have it, and the regular one does, or what? I can't remember. But you know, this should just be standard. I mean, and I don't see why it's not. The other thing is the bike is supposed to be blacked out, and you just have all this stuff that's not black. I mean, I do like the top of the head is gray. You know, that's kind of cool. And I was undecided about getting a color matched lower fairing, but since my tour pack most likely is going to be black too, so I wasn't really concerned about trying to color match and make the whole bike Gauntlet gray, because you know, what's the point? The bike is supposed to be black and gray anyway, so I don't see that as an issue. But the bike is plenty fast. I did have a video with me finally getting on it, but whatever. I had a problem with the camera, and the camera didn't really record it. The SD card was corrupt, so I didn't get that. But I do have another short video of me and one of my club brothers getting on it for a little bit. But it's really good, you know, like different from my 04, because my 04 was fast, but you know, you had 5 gears, so when you're in 5th gear and you know you're rolling really hard, you know, the engine is screaming, you know, it's just really screaming. You know, this guy here, I got an extra gear, 6th gear, you know, kind of like an overdrive, I guess, kick it up into 6th, the bike RPM come down, it gets nice and relaxed. And if you need to get on it again, squeeze the clutch, downshift, and away you go. You can even downshift the 4th, you know, depending on where you are in the miles per hour game, and then kick it up to 5th. But like I said, I really cannot complain. I did switch out the windshield. I had the Clockwork 6.5 dark smoke, but the dark smoke was just a little bit too dark for me to see at night. So I always say, you know, I can't see for shit, but you know, my vision is not all that great at night. So I just needed to be a little bit lighter. And that's why I have so many lights on the bike as well. Up in the front where I have the passing lights. The passing lights stay on even when the high beams are on. And I have the really bright LED turn signal running lights. So those are important too, just to light up the road as much as possible. And to be seen as well. Let's see, anything else? I guess that's basically it. I mean, I really do not have any complaints. I thought I might have some complaints about buying a new bike and, you know, the amount of money you have to spend on a new Harley. But I really enjoy riding the bike, and I enjoy how stable and steady the bike is. And like I said, I have that 2015 over there. Let me switch this around real quick. I have that 2015 right here. So I have that 2015 right there, and that was the bike that I picked up from Copart and rebuilt. So it's black and chrome, and it's really nice. I need to take it out because I haven't ridden it for about a week or even 2 weeks. But I need to take that bike out. And you notice that the windshield on that bike is pretty much the same as this one here, like that light tint. I guess my point with this bike here was I had the 04 when I went and hooked up this bike. It's really windy here today, so you gotta excuse the wind. But I still have my 04 when I picked up this bike, and you know, even that bike rode a whole lot better than my 04 Road King, and that's with the Road King having the Legend suspension, you know, and 21-inch wheel and all that stuff. It just, I mean, it rode okay, but this bike just rode a whole lot better. So I wasn't expecting this bike to be any better, but I wasn't expecting this bike to be better, but it actually was. So when I got on it and rode it, I was like, wow, this is really nice. Like really, really nice. And the story for me with this bike is, I went to Brandon Harley Davidson first to put together a deal on this bike. And, you know, I told them, hey, just give me the best deal you possibly can. And just like, you know, with some of these other, you know, dealerships, you know, it's always just back and forth. And I don't like a lot of back and forth. I just think it's stupid. Just give me your best price. And that's that. You know, I shouldn't have to keep, you know, saying that's not good, that's not good, that's not good. It's just ridiculous to me. So anyway, I had to go the East Coast to the Carolinas, and since my 04 was in the shop, imagine that, and this bike I was still rebuilding, so it wasn't ready for me to put on the road, and plus I hadn't had it inspected yet. So I didn't want no issues. What I did was I stopped at every dealership between my house and Charlotte, North Carolina. And I must have stopped at something like 20 Harley Davidsons. And it's amazing how, you know, some are real friendly, most are real friendly. And there was one in particular out in North Carolina, which was interesting, that I walked in and I was standing there for about a good 15 minutes. 10 to 15 minutes. And there were like guys and, you know, gals and tail guys and all that stuff in there. Not one person approached me about anything. So I just picked up a poker chip and turned around and I left. But in any case, make a long story short, I ended up buying this bike from Speedway Harley Davidson. And, you know, big shout out to Corey, you know, if he's still there. But I talked to Corey, who's the sales manager over there. I talked to him for maybe 10 to 15 minutes tops. And I told him the same thing, just give me your best deal. I don't need the spiel on the bike because I already know about the bike. And he gave me his best price, and he said, you take this price and you go anywhere. If you find anybody who can beat this price, come back to me and I'll beat their price. So I did. I went to other dealerships in the North Carolina area, and all they could do was scratch their head about how he was able, how Speedway Harley Davidson was able to make this deal for me. So I thought that was interesting in itself. So eventually I just ended up going back to Speedway Harley Davidson. I was out of town. We did the deal just like that in like minutes. There was no long process. The longest process was actually there was no real long process. It was just really short. And then they came down and picked up my 04, and they dropped this guy off. They didn't even have it in stock. I think the only street glides, 2021 street glides they had were used ones. The guy Corey was like, don't worry about it, we'll find the bike, and don't worry about it, it's all good. And still by his word, they found the bike, this Gauntlet gray one, I was undecided between the Gauntlet gray and black with the blue pinstripe and this guy. You know, some people like pinstripes. I'm just one of those people that do not like pinstripes. I go through all kinds of, even on my Mustang, I went through this thing 100, you know, because I had an 88, well I still have an 88 Mustang. I used the heat gun to snatch that pinstripe off because I hated it. But that's it. Like I said, I really cannot complain about this bike at all. You know, if anything, the only complaints I have is really around Harley and some of their bullshit and the way that they charge you so much money and the way that they try to restrict you from making upgrades and saying upgrades will void your warranty. And I guess because they want to stay EPA compliant, because I did want to, my plan from the beginning was to get the, I think like the jackpot headers into maybe the tab exhaust or Chromeworks exhaust and go with like a 475 SNS cam or the Redshift for something, I forget what it is, cam. But that's really all I wanted to do, was to change the head pipe and the cam. And they were like, well, if you change the cam, you know, it's going to be a different tuner, and that's probably going to void your warranty, and then the header doesn't have the cat in it, blah, 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 blah. So I was like, ah, fine, fuck it. So I just threw the torque cam in here, and again, it does have plenty of power. I just wanted, you know, a little bit more of a rip. But that's okay. I'll just leave it stock, and like I said, just do all of my cosmetic stuff with lights and things like that, and try to black out some more of this stuff. Like I will get the bolt kit to black all these bolts out, and I'll do that the next time I get service work done on the bike. But that's basically it. One thing I didn't really talk much about too, though, is when I changed the cam, I also changed the push rod cover, because I mean, you might as well. I mean, these guys were chrome, so since I was changing the cam, I said, well, change that push rod cover too. Now again, I could have changed the cam and I could have done this push rod work. But, and that's the kind of work I was doing on my 04. But, you know, sometimes you can do the work. It just takes, you know, so much of your time to do it. And you do feel better about work that you've done. But since I've already done it, you know, there's nothing for me to feel better about. And I'm more than happy to pay somebody else to do it, as long as they're going to charge me a reasonable price. So since I was buying the bike, and I knew, you know, that I was just gonna have to spend money. I just wanted everything to be done when I got the bike, so I didn't have to worry about doing anything in here at all. So I had to throw in the torque cam instead of the power cam. I think it's the two cams, and switch these out to black.